Hi, welcome back. My name's Tessa. I'm a 45-year-old trans woman who only came out to herself 2 years ago. Um, this is me continuing my story of my life. If it's your first time here, welcome to my channel. This is where I explain who I am and what I've been through to get to where I am. In my previous video, I said that I'd touch on a bit of my work history. So I'll start there today and we'll get into it. So before I met what became my wife, Renee, I did a stint in a planing mill, sawmill. It was kind of fun. Work health and safety wasn't around then, so we used to have a lot of horseplay and fun. And it taught me as my first sort of factory work, factory environment work. On a Friday, the boss would bring a carton of beer in, or a couple of cartons of beer in. We'd finish work at 1 o'clock and you weren't allowed to leave until the beer was gone. Times were different. Before that, I was actually worked at a place that did concrete statuettes for gardens. Got sacked from that because I was out partying with the boys too much, and the last time was I got on some hash oil and wasn't able to go to work physically, so I lost that job. So in between that, I spent a lot of time on the dole or unemployment benefits, which is what led me to do the Bush Generation course that I spoke about in the previous video. That was like a work for the dole scheme, trying to give you skills and qualifications that would give you a start in jobs. Once I met Renee, before we had kids, just got my list again, sorry, just so I make sure I get everything right. I did a stint at Golden Circle, which most people in this area, as they were growing up back in the day, would have done some time at Golden Circle by the sounds of it, working as a jam plant operator. I ended up leaving that just through a disagreement with my supervisor, and I didn't want to do that job anymore. It was also when me and Renee found out she was pregnant with our first child. Probably not a smart idea to run away from a job just as you find out that you're going to have a kid. So after, I've done furniture removals, which was probably a job I really enjoyed. It was a different place every day, different furniture, different clients. It also helped me get big and strong. Had a pretty tight body back then. Also did some mowing with Renee's dad at that point, just mowing lawns because he ran his own mowing business, so I'd go out and help him push the mower around and do some whippersnipping and yard tidying, and just to make a bit of cash on the side. So then we get to the point where Renee fell pregnant with our first child, my beautiful boy Zach. At that point, my relationship with Renee, it took a weird turn. The kids became her priority, and our relationship became not so much of a priority for her, and my feelings on certain situations become not irrelevant. She was the mother. It was about her. Now, at that point, I think I was still working at Golden Circle. I ended up working at Golden Circle just after Zachy was born. No, I was doing furniture removals just after Zach was born. Me and Renee had moved into our own home. We'd left living with her father, which is where we moved to after the caravan park. He took us on and let us stay in a room at his house against her mother's wishes, which thank you, but I think it also became a bit of a pulling point on our relationship as we got older. So Zachy come along, beautiful boy, born underweight because he was 6 weeks preemie. He had a couple of health issues in his first couple of years, but didn't stop him. The kid just kept going and going. You can't stop him. He's definitely got my genes in him. Then Tasha come along. Now I will do a whole video on either of my kids as I go, so I won't spend too much time on them now, but just know Tashi is disabled. She was born with a lot of health issues. We spent quite a bit of time in hospital, and from that I ended up quitting work to become a carer to help look after Tash, because she was pretty full-time needs, and probably a bit much for one person. So I stayed home to help Renee with Tash and Zach for 6 years on a pension. In that time, in the pension, money was tight. I had lots of free time, but no money to do anything. So tried to find things to keep myself amused. Zachy was just about to start school towards the end. But during that time, we needed money. Renee had organised as a present for me to have a stripper come around with just me and her there for a bit of excitement. That stripper became Renee's boss. She saw how beautiful Renee was, and said you can make a lot of money doing this job. So Renee got into waitressing and eventually dancing. As part of that, we sort of got into the party lifestyle, and I found something that was I'd never tried before, but it became my vice, and I enjoyed it way too much, and that was ecstasy. I got to a point where I was eating quite a lot of it, and to my detriment. At that point, I say God gave me a tap on the shoulder, because my life was going down the wrong path, very much so. We were looking at doing porn and other things like that, which would have led us down a whole different pathway. So the big fella said, you're having too much fun in life, you're on the wrong path. Gave me a slap on the head. I ended up with a condition called Ludwig's angina. My neck swelled out to here. My whole body went septic. I spent 11 days in ICU. I think it was nearly 3 months in hospital all up. I'm very lucky to be here. After I went back for a checkup and spoke to the doctor who did the surgeries on the first day, that's why I have my tracheostomy scar and my voice is a bit croaky, because of the damage and scarring done by that time in hospital. The doctor told me I'm 0.1 of a percenter. He reckons 99% of people that got the condition I had die. Of that 1%, 99% end up brain dead. Of that 1%, 99% end up with brain damage. I may have got a little bit of that, who knows. But I walked away with scarring, and he says I'm a very, very lucky person. There was definitely someone looking after me on the other side. It wasn't my time. I had a lot more to do and achieve in this life, and I've learnt that as time went on. Because after that, I came out of hospital and I asked Renee to stop dancing. I decided to go back to work, and that's when the rest of my working career took off. I went back to Golden Circle, became an operator again. Because of my skills, I advanced very quickly through the ranks and the roles within that business. And then someone saw a bit of potential in me, and they gave me a bit of time and training on being a production clerk. Crunching numbers, boring as hell, but a great, how do I put it? It was a challenge. Every day was a challenge, trying to make everything line up and work out what's going on. And it gave me a lot of skills and thought processes of how to manage a business. Part of that is I also became a rugby league coach. I wanted to give back to the community in ways that the community had given to me when I was a kid. So for 3 years, I coached a under 7s, under 8s, under 9s rugby league team. Met some beautiful, wonderful little kids, and helped to teach them not only to play the game, but how to be a good person, how to be a good sportsman, how to be good people, because that's what I was focused on being, was just being a good person from that point on in my life. I was making the most of what God had given me the chance to come back and do it again, and I did that. From being a cub leader, a rugby league coach, I became a scout leader. Spent 3 years doing that, helping to show kids that they're capable of a lot more than they thought they were, and teach them some butch skills, because if the world went to shit today, I don't think people would survive. And I was lucky enough to have learnt some skills to be able to feed myself, catch, kill, cook, make fire, find water, and I love spending time in the bush. So being a scout leader for me was a great opportunity to teach kids the skills, but I also got to go camping for free and have a bit of fun with some young kids. I enjoyed that time, but at that time was also where I changed jobs from working at Golden Circle. I went to Priestley's, was when I was at still a rugby league coach, which worked really well, as a finance officer, and that was right near where the Queensland Junior Rugby League headquarters was. So I became a registrar of the club after the year after I finished coaching, and was taking care of registrations for the kids, and dropping it all in. So it worked out really well. Then the GFC hit. I was made redundant. Took me a little bit of time to find work. I didn't look for work at that level again. I went back to where my background and my best skills were. It was being a machine operator. And I ended up at a company called OSI, where I spent the next 7 years developing through roles, obtaining extra skills and qualifications. As part of that, I became a safety advisor, a qualified trainer. I also did a stint as project engineer. And yeah, it was a very interesting, a lot of time at learning and earning. Money became my focus. Earning money to provide for my kids and give them the best life they could have. And my wife the best life she could have. She had quite a few adventures, and she got to do some stuff, sometimes without me, because I had to work and I couldn't afford to not work to pay the bills. So she went on a lot of cruises. She got to do a lot of things. We had a lot of family holidays. The Gold Coast was always a favourite. Spent many a week in the Gold Coast. There was times there I'd just go away for the week and still go to work through the week, depending on what I had on. That job ended badly, and that's what got me out of wanting to do the corporate world in the big factories, working for the American conglomerates who give nothing to our community other than providing jobs and buying resources. Their profits go overseas, which I didn't like. Proud Aussie, and I want to see our country grow, and watching that money just walk away didn't make me happy. From there I went to work at Health World, making pharmaceuticals. Similar sort of mindset to food manufacturing, and hygiene practices, all that sort of stuff. So I spent a year doing that. That ended when I got a phone call from one of my old bosses from OSI, who rang me up looking for operators. Didn't realise I'd left. Said I'd go do the job for him at a startup pet food company, human grade pet food. So we were still running as a human food manufacturer, but making high grade pet food. Startup business was sold to me as being a little bit more than what it was when I walked in the door. They hadn't even made the product for the first time, so it was great to be on the ground floor, a great challenge. I learnt a lot. Helped build a team, build the floor, set the factory up, position the machinery so we had process flow, all that sort of stuff, using the skills I'd learnt from OSI and Golden Circle. Golden Circle used to do some world's best practice stuff, so it was good to be skilled in all of that sort of stuff. So from the pet food company, I became a production manager. The boss I was working for, who had left, who became a friend of mine, he left because of stuff that was going on there. The new operations manager and I didn't click, so I left. From there I just started chasing whatever work I could. I ended up working at a gluten-free bakehouse, making hot cross buns and bread. Then I got a job that I'd been applying for 5 minutes up the road from home, because both of those last two jobs were on the Sunshine Coast, an hour and a half drive away. I got offered a job working on blow molding plastics machines, 5 minutes down the road from home. So I did that job for a while. And it was at that point I realised that I knew too much. Businesses were treating me like I was an idiot because I knew too much, and I'd call them out on when they were doing things wrong, and tried to help them do things right, but they choose not to because that costs money. Again, that was another large corporation. At that point I decided I'm never working in a factory again. I'm never working for a big corporation again. And I ended up becoming a respite carer. I would take clients away to weekends for weeks, to hotels, make sure they were fed, they were safe, that they had a great time doing activities, all that sort of stuff. And I really enjoyed that. That fell over, so I sold gel blasters for a while. I enjoyed gel blasting. It's like airsoft, but just with little Orbi ammunition. Did that for about 6 months, then that fell over. And each time it fell over, the universe, because I gave my life to the universe. I said, where do I go next? What do I do next? And the universe would present me with an offer, an opportunity for me to move on. I then ended up, from gel blasters, I ended up doing construction, traveling up and down the eastern seaboard, working on service stations, digging up the concrete, servicing tanks, putting in new pipelines, all that sort of stuff, a whole new skill set. And I enjoyed that. It was good fun. But that was when I came out to myself, and being away, working in small country towns with contractors who are pretty closed, narrow-minded, a little bit bigoted. I didn't feel safe being me and doing that job. So I resigned from that and I became a carer again, but in the LGBTQ community, working for a company that's run by LGBTQ for LGBTQ, and it gave me the opportunity to live as me full time. And I'm still doing that at this stage. I enjoy looking after people, and helping them see that they're capable of more in their life than what they thought, and getting them to achieve stuff. Get out, live life. Don't just stay at home and let yourself rot away. Your disability doesn't mean that you can't live life. A disability just means we need to find ways and means and opportunities to help you live your life and achieve your goals and the things you want to do in life. So that's my work history. As you can see, I've done a lot. I've enjoyed having such a diverse work history. I've done many roles along the road, and it's given me a skill set and a knowledge of people. It's given me a skill set and knowledge of process, machines, policy, procedures. They're fun. And also finance, on a small and large scale. So, yeah, that's my work history. I look forward to obviously doing a lot more jobs as I move forward, but at the moment I think I'll stick with the caring. I've got some really cool clients, and the fact that I get to help other trans people, young trans people especially, find themselves and where their niche is in life and have the confidence to be out in the community as them, without hiding themselves, is a great pleasure of mine. So thank you for your time. I look forward to talking to you guys next, where I'll dive into probably my kids, my beautiful, beautiful baby kids, and their lives and the challenges and the achievements that they've been through. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.